What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, we have our full deep dive into the Vikings-Cardinals Week 13 matchup, where our Minnesota Vikings are back at home following a 3-game road trip. But before we dive into it, if you guys want the Vikes to beat the Cardinals this weekend and move the 10-2 on the season, don't jinx us. Hit that thumbs up icon. Show some love on today's show. Likes really help us get this video out to more and more NFL fans. So if you guys could, hit that thumbs up icon if you guys want the Vikings to beat the Cardinals this weekend. All right, so what's coming up on today's show? First off, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the Arizona Cardinals, what has led them to get to this point in the NFL season. Then I got 5 keys to victory, and then also my score prediction at the very end of today's show, so stay tuned for that. Don't miss it. But let's start off with some injury news around the Minnesota Vikings. So Cam Robinson and Ivan Pace left the game versus Chicago Bears, and Kevin O'Connell said yesterday during his press conference that Cam Robinson is dealing with the same foot injury that he was dealing with before the trade to the Minnesota Vikings. So I don't really expect this to be that big of an issue. I expect him to go out there and play this weekend, but a guy I don't expect to play is actually Ivan Pace Jr. Just the way Blake Cashman, Kevin O'Connell, the way they've been talking about this, I think Ivan Pace can miss some serious time with this hamstring injury. The injury looked awful. It looked like this could keep him out a couple of weeks, so not having him in the lineup, Grugier he'll step in. He'll be the linebacker in that place, but still, definitely hurts to not have Pace Jr., for this Vikings defense. So, all right, let's dive into the Cardinals here. They are coming into this game with a record of 6-5, and they lost week 1 to the Bills, followed that up with a win week 2 versus the Rams, and then they went on a 2-game losing streak, getting to 1-3. But then they bounced back with a big time win against the Niners, got smoked by the Packers, won a big time game on Monday night versus the Chargers, and they came into their week 12 matchup versus the Seattle Seahawks hot. Like, they had 4 straight wins against the Chargers, Dolphins, Bears, and Jets, and they were all pretty soundly wins, especially in weeks 9 and 10. But then they did lose to the Seattle Seahawks this past week. And, the face of the franchise, the main player we got to talk about here is Kyler Murray. And, he has had an unbelievable start. He is truly just a better version of what we saw last week at Caleb Williams. He just has more, elusiveness. He is great at design runs, great at throwing outside the pocket, doesn't attack the middle of the field as well as Caleb does, but this guy's a playmaker. He is the true face of the franchise down there in Arizona, and he has had an unbelievable start to the season. 12 touchdowns, only 4 picks, but even goes further than that. Like, his big-time throw percentage on the season, 5.3. He's had 17 big-time throws so far this year. That's in the top of the NFL. And then turnover-worthy play percentage. Give credit to Kyler. He has definitely taken the turnovers out of his game. Only 8 turnover-worthy plays so far, and that adjusted completion percentage sits at 75.5. But, he's got some weapons now, and they did a great job of loading Kyler up with some great playmakers on the outside. And we can start off with his tight end. Even though he doesn't have a touchdown this season, Trey McBride has been a monster in this offense. He truly is just the prototypical safety blanket for Kyler. Like, when his reads, down the field aren't there, he'll quickly check it down to McBride. But this guy also has big playability. 61 receptions, 685 yards. But, if it's not McBride, he's probably throwing the ball to this guy, Marvin Harrison Jr. He was the rookie they took with the 4th overall pick. 36 receptions, 546 yards, and 6 touchdowns on the year. He's got all types of talent. This guy is going to be a problem if you don't treat him like one of the top wide receivers in the league. He hasn't kind of came onto the scene as fast and explosive as we thought he was going to be, but he is still a dangerous man with the football in his hands. So all that led to the Cardinals being, I'm going to say, a middle-of-the-pack offense. Here's how they rank out. Yards per game, pass yards, rush yards, points per game throughout the NFL this season. They are averaging the 16th most points per game in the league at 22.2. Yards per game, 15th. Pass yards per game, 23rd. Third down percentage, 11th. But, really their bread and butter is their run game. Like, they're 6th in yards per game in the league, averaging over 140. And if they're able to win on 1st and 2nd downs, this Vikings defense might be playing behind the 8 ball. And they got a sneaky good running back in James Conner. I feel like this guy's the most underrated guy in the league, because every time I toss on a Cardinals game at that 3 o'clock spot, he is always making plays. He's a very physical running back. He'll turn a 3-yard gain into a 5-yard gain because he just falls forward over and over again. And this is the biggest reason why, the Cardinals are a pretty good offense this year. And, when I went back and I watched the Cardinals offense, my takeaways were that this offense is built off being a more physical football team up front. Like, they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to own that time of possession and really assert themselves, in the ground game in this upcoming weekend matchup versus the Vikings. And, if the Vikings defense, they've been great against the run this year, the first ranked rush defense in the league. If they're able to take away the run, I expect that defense to have a hell of a game this weekend. But defensively for the Cardinals. So this is where I think the Vikings can really take advantage because they're not top 10 in anything. Yards per game 15th, pass yards 20th, rush yards 17th. They give up 21.5 points per game, and they're terrible on third downs. Truly one of the worst third down defenses in the league, almost giving up a 50% conversion rate. But the thing is, they got playmakers on defense. I don't want you guys to look at, the Cardinals defense, just be like, oh, the Vikings, we have to move the ball willy-nilly, and there's going to be no problems. And you got this man right here who already has 107 tackles, one of the best safeties in the league, Budda Baker. I mean, that's Vikings fans. We were talking about trading for him in the offseason. Well, he has had an unbelievable season with the Cardinals. And also, they got a good edge rusher like Zavon Collins. He has been awesome this season. Only 4 sacks, but he gets pressure consistently from that edge spot. I thought he's been pretty damn good so far for Arizona. And then they also got a sneaky good slot corner like Garrett Williams. They will run him during their nickel sets, and PFF is grading him out very, very well this season. 78.4 overall grade and a 79.3 coverage grade. He will be in the slot, whether it's Jefferson or Addison or Naylor, he will be on them. So they do have a good slot corner, good safety, one good edge rusher, but still as a whole, it's not like they got the top-end talent of like these other elite defenses in the NFL. So when I'm thinking about this game offensively for the Vikes, after they just had a monster performance versus the Bears, I think it was the best one of the year, it would be very Vikings to, stall out offensively after that performance you had last week. I don't think they will. I still think they'll be able to put up points. I think Darnold really got his groove back over the last couple of games, and we'll talk about Darnold during our keys to victory, really dive in, what's good and what's bad with him. But I think this Vikings offense should be good this weekend. But I'll ask you guys this. Predict it for me. Who will score a touchdown this week for the Minnesota Vikings? Drop that name down below in the comment section. I'm going chalk here. Jefferson only has 1 touchdown over the last 6 games, so I'll go Jefferson finds the end zone this weekend. But you guys let me know. Who scores a TD for the Vikings this week? Coming up next, keys to victory. How do the Vikings move to 10-2? I'll explain that here in a second. But first, got to give a massive shout out to today's presenting sponsor. That is PrizePicks. If you guys download the PrizePicks app today and sign up today, you guys will get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Best part is you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Just make sure you plug in promo code CONS. Now, PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, they got a sweet deal going on for the football games on Thanksgiving Day, where actually just 1 Tyreek Hill receiving yard gets you 1 win on PrizePicks. So take advantage of the sweet deal they have going on. Add him to your lineups this weekend. Do not miss out. So shout out to PrizePicks for trying to get some money back in your pocket. So download the app today. Use code CONS. Get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CONS. Get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. Run your game. Key to victory number 1. The 18 effect, because it was on full display last week, and not the 18 effect we're talking about. He's going out there and dominating the game. It's him opening up other opportunities for guys like Jordan Addison, who last week versus the Bears absolutely dominated. 8 receptions, 162 yards. We saw it on full display when they roll their coverage Jefferson's way. They give him the double, triple team attention that he demands. It allows guys like Addison, who's a tremendous wide receiver too, to be open and go off for a monster performance. But if you take away Jefferson, you take away Addison, that's going to leave TJ Hawkinson one-on-one with a linebacker or a slot corner, and that's when he thrives. That's where he is at its best. And, this week he actually called Jefferson the best wide receiver of all time. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, hey, don't hate that take whatsoever from number 87. But hey, 7 receptions last week, 114 yards. He was truly dominant in that performance versus the Bears. But key to victory number 2. You got to dominate the trenches. Like I was saying, this Cardinals team is a very physical group. They want to beat you up front. They want to own time of possession. They want to take away the run while establishing the run. And this is one of the better rush offenses in the National Football League. I mean, their stats on the season, just under 300 carries, going over 1,500 yards. They got 12 touchdowns, ends up being 5.2 yards per carry, and they do have some explosive playability. 53 yards is their longest rush so far this season. So looking at Harrison Phillips, Grugier Hill, Blake Cashman, take away the run, should be successful offensively. And then, for the Vikings offensively, even though I feel like Kevin O'Connell gets a little too run happy at times, I still feel like this is a game this weekend where you got a chance to really establish yourself as a physical football team. So I'm looking at the 3 guys in the interior. Blake Brandel, Garrett Bradbury, Dalton Risner. If they have a good game this weekend, we should be celebrating a fifth straight victory Monday now. I can't believe I'm saying that. But those three, looking at them, if they have a good game, we should be all set up this weekend. Now, I do want to talk about the good Sam Darnold because, we've seen the polarizing play of him where if he has an awful game, the Vikings can get behind the 8 ball and they have a chance to lose. Then you have the good games where he is just throwing that ball all around the lot, and he looks like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But 2 games that were bad this year for Darnold. And the Vikings actually won both of these matchups, and I think these were his 2 worst games of the year. Week 5 in London versus the Jets, 45% completion percentage, did not throw a touchdown, had an interception. Week 10 against the Jags, Vikings only won 12-7. Big reason of that was Darnold throwing turnovers, throwing interceptions in the red zone. He had 3 picks, no touchdowns. We can't have these types of performances later on in the year in December and January. He needs to do what he's done the last 2 games because I think he's playing the best football of his career. Like week 11 against the Titans, on the road against a good pass defense, just under 250 yards, clean football, 2 touchdowns. And this week against the Bears, he had all the pressure on him to completely turn into a pumpkin during that game. What did he do? He had his best performance of the year, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, really was fantastic. But number 4 for me, I'm going to go get Akers more carries. And this isn't a slight at Aaron Jones as he was just coming off a great performance versus the Bears. But, man, he's already got 179 carries this season. That's just too much for a running back who's had an injury history and is almost turning 30 years old early in December. Get him off the football field. This is not an indictment on him, but we have seen over the past 5 games a decline. I mean, 3 of these 5 games, he's averaging less than 3.1 yards per carry. Good game against the Jags, good game against the Bears. He has that big play threat, but still, you traded for Cam Akers for a reason. Get him the football more, get him more involved in this offense, and just keep Aaron Jones healthy for the later half of this, playoff run here. But number 5, I'm going to go must-win mentality. Now, maybe saying, man, the Vikes are 9-2. How could this be a must-win? And I totally understand that. But, I think the Vikings, they got a good chance to keep pace with the Detroit Lions. So if you want any chance at winning the NFC North title, this is a must-win game. It's a conference game because those tiebreakers are going to come down to divisional record, conference record, and opponent record when they play the same team. So Lions, they already beat the Cardinals. You want to keep pace with them? You beat this Arizona Cardinals football team. And plus the Lions, maybe they lose on Thanksgiving to the Bears, and the Vikings got a chance to, control their own destiny in the NFC North. But I'll ask you guys this. Predict the score for me. Vikings versus Cardinals this weekend, Week 13 in the bank. Who do you got winning, and what do you guys think the score will be? Let me know your thoughts down below. For me, I'm going to go Vikings win this game 31-20. I think it's going to be on the right arm of Sam Darnold again. I expect now Jefferson to have a monster game this weekend. I think he's going to go for 100 and possibly find the end zone 2 times. But also, give me a follow on Twitter, @PatSieps, the handle. See you guys next time. As always, let's go Vikes.